They told you that life was a straight path defined by circumstance. And what if I tell you that every twist, every shadow, every silent moment carried a hidden invitation to transcend ordinary existence? And this is how it begins with a whisper of thought. This is how it continues, as your mind hesitates to imagine what is possible beyond the walls of your daily routine. This is how it unfolds when the ordinary becomes the canvas for extraordinary visions. This is how it deepens when desire first stirs quietly in the heart. This is how it escalates as imagination stretches beyond the limits of fear. This is how it thrives when emotion colors every mental picture with vibrancy. This is how it resonates when you allow yourself to feel the life that could be. This is how it whispers when the subconscious begins to accept what the conscious mind barely dares to envision. This is how it ignites as small sparks of belief turn into flames of certainty. This is how it multiplies when persistent thought patterns align with invisible currents of potential. This is how it strengthens as the inner conversation shifts from doubt to possibility. This is how it surprises when your body responds instinctively to the scenes playing in your mind. This is how it commands attention when every sense is invited to participate in creation. This is how it dances when imagination and emotion entwine in perfect synchrony. This is how it seduces with the promise of what might emerge tomorrow. This is how it transforms as old stories dissolve into new possibilities. This is how it solidifies when repeated vision molds the subconscious. This is how it conquers the quiet resistance that once held you back. This is how it awakens when faith becomes a tangible force within you. This is how it blooms as the unseen becomes inevitable. And this is how it continues, beckoning you into the next revelation that waits just beyond awareness. Can you imagine a world where every fleeting thought carries the weight of creation? And this is how it begins, as subtle whispers of possibility ripple through the mind. This is how it grows, when even the smallest visions begin to feel tangible. This is how it deepens as the heart learns to recognize the vibration of unseen abundance. This is how it stretches when the mind experiments with what seems impossible. This is how it awakens when the subconscious accepts scenarios as real before they materialize. This is how it expands as desire is nurtured with clarity and intensity. This is how it sharpens when every image becomes a vivid rehearsal for reality. This is how it strengthens as doubt is softened by repeated mental practice. This is how it surprises when invisible doors begin to crack open. This is how it invites courage to step forward without hesitation. This is how it unfolds as persistence molds every thought into a living force. This is how it resonates when emotion colors imagination with unmistakable authenticity. This is how it synchronizes as intention and feeling align in silent harmony. This is how it teaches patience as transformation moves at the pace of inner conviction. This is how it enlightens when fear is acknowledged yet deliberately set aside. This is how it commands attention when the mind notices patterns previously invisible. This is how it catalyzes action as subtle inspirations translate into bold movement. This is how it transforms as repetition strengthens belief until it becomes second nature. This is how it blooms when each day reinforces the life imagined. And yet something deeper was waiting, and so the journey pressed forward into the next revelation that would stretch understanding even further. Picture for a moment the invisible currents that guide every decision, and this is how it begins. As subtle signals rise from the depths of consciousness, this is how it deepens, when intuition whispers truths that the rational mind cannot yet grasp. This is how it expands as patterns of thought reveal hidden pathways to opportunity. This is how it sharpens when awareness grows of the influence every belief exerts on circumstance. This is how it illuminates as seemingly random events begin to align with intention. This is how it resonates when the heart recognizes the familiar pulse of possibility. This is how it strengthens as imagination is given the freedom to explore without restriction. This is how it surprises when insights emerge at the most unexpected moments. This is how it awakens when emotional intensity fuels creative visualization. This is how it multiplies as persistent focus impresses the subconscious with unwavering clarity. This is how it flows when resistance is met with patient attention rather than struggle. This is how it teaches as repeated exercises of thought begin to reshape inner reality. This is how it commands action when visions compel the body to move in synchrony with mind. This is how it elevates perception as small victories in thought translate into confidence in reality. This is how it intensifies when subtle sensations hint at untapped power within. This is how it transforms as habitual doubt gradually gives way to certainty. This is how it ignites when the mind and heart cooperate in perfect alignment. This is how it consolidates as repetition weaves belief into the fabric of consciousness. This is how it blooms when every imagined outcome feels lived and known. This is how it expands further, because as the layers peel back, you start to see how reality itself bends in response to focused inner attention. Now consider this. Every thought you entertain is a seed waiting to germinate. And this is how it begins as subtle awareness of possibility stirs beneath the surface. This is how it grows when you notice how easily imagination shapes perception. This is how it sharpens as mental rehearsal begins to sculpt reality before your eyes. This is how it resonates when feelings of certainty amplify the power of unseen creation. This is how it unfolds as desire is no longer passive but vivid and intentional. This is how it strengthens when persistent mental focus impresses the subconscious with unwavering clarity. This is how it surprises as opportunities appear where none seemed possible before. This is how it awakens when intuition directs action in perfect timing. This is how it multiplies as repeated visualization and emotion fuse into an unstoppable current. This is how it deepens when doubt surfaces and is consciously replaced with faith. This is how it illuminates as tiny victories in perception fuel confidence in the next step. This is how it energizes when each imagined scene feels fully lived and tangible. This is how it compels movement as imagination insists upon physical manifestation. This is how it teaches as patience becomes a skill, allowing the unseen to unfold without forcing. This is how it transforms as habitual patterns of fear dissolve into recognition of inner power. This is how it consolidates when belief and feeling integrate into daily thought. This is how it blooms as reality bends subtly to align with inner conviction. This is how it intensifies when emotional involvement ensures the subconscious accepts the scenario as truth. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, and so the mind begins to perceive layers of reality previously invisible, each one offering a richer, more commanding influence on the life yet to be claimed. Suppose you discover that every limitation you've ever believed is merely a shadow cast by imagination. And this is how it begins, as awareness awakens to the possibility that scarcity is a choice rather than a condition. This is how it grows when old fears dissolve in the light of deliberate focus. This is how it sharpens as the mind experiments with new assumptions about what is possible. This is how it resonates when feelings of empowerment ripple through the subconscious. This is how it expands as visualization becomes a tool for rewriting internal narratives. This is how it surprises when subtle mental shifts manifest in unexpected external changes. This is how it strengthens when consistency of thought impresses the subconscious beyond doubt. This is how it deepens as every imagined scenario feels lived and real. This is how it awakens when inner dialogue turns from limitation to possibility. This is how it multiplies as the subconscious accepts repeated mental rehearsals as truth. This is how it illuminates when patience allows transformation to emerge gradually, yet inevitably. This is how it commands attention as awareness tunes into patterns of opportunity previously invisible. This is how it energizes when desire is coupled with unshakable faith. This is how it teaches when each moment becomes a laboratory for testing the power of imagination. This is how it flows when action naturally follows thought without resistance. This is how it transforms as habitual scarcity is replaced with the perception of abundance. This is how it consolidates when belief and emotion integrate seamlessly into daily experience. This is how it blooms as the mind begins to perceive the world as a responsive canvas for creation. And this is how it continues, because as the layers peel back, you start to see the vast hidden architecture of reality that responds only to the imagination's command. Think about how emotions act as the silent engine driving every creation. And this is how it begins, as subtle feelings color every imagined possibility. This is how it grows when joy and excitement become the fuel for inner manifestation. This is how it sharpens as emotional intensity impresses the subconscious with unmistakable clarity. This is how it resonates when the heart recognizes the life it already desires as present. This is how it expands as feelings guide attention toward opportunities unseen by the distracted mind. This is how it surprises when passion manifests solutions that intellect alone could never conceive. This is how it strengthens when sustained emotion turns vague ideas into vivid, living scenarios. This is how it deepens as repeated emotional rehearsal ingrains certainty into the subconscious. This is how it awakens when every sense participates in the creation of mental movies. This is how it multiplies as feelings align perfectly with persistent assumptions. This is how it illuminates when awareness notices the subtle shifts reality makes in response. This is how it energizes when emotion becomes inseparable from thought. This is how it teaches as emotional mastery directs action effortlessly. This is how it flows when love, gratitude, and anticipation amplify every imagined scene. This is how it transforms as the subconscious accepts emotion as proof of truth. This is how it consolidates when feelings become a permanent lens through which reality is interpreted. This is how it blooms as imagination and emotion merge into a single, unstoppable force. This is how it intensifies when passion dictates not only what is imagined, but what is expected. This is how it escalates as every experience begins to reflect the inner emotional state. This is how it commands the next revelation. Because as the mind learns to feel first, it begins to shape the world with unprecedented precision. And yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you into even more profound mastery over thought, feeling, and the unfolding of life itself. Can you imagine a mind so vivid that every scene it envisions begins to ripple into reality? And this is how it begins, as imagination stretches beyond the boundaries of ordinary perception. This is how it grows, when mental images carry the weight and texture of lived experience. This is how it sharpens as each sensory detail is summoned with deliberate focus. This is how it resonates when the subconscious no longer distinguishes between imagined and real events. This is how it expands as imagination becomes a rehearsal for actual living. This is how it surprises when solutions appear as if reality itself is responding to mental effort. This is how it strengthens when repetition ingrains belief into the deepest layers of consciousness. This is how it deepens as subtle signals from intuition guide creative visualization. This is how it awakens when imagination is infused with emotion and expectation. This is how it multiplies as consistent mental practice reinforces unseen structures of possibility. This is how it illuminates when mental rehearsal triggers insight that action alone could not produce. This is how it energizes as imagination begins to magnetize opportunities toward the aware mind. This is how it teaches as mental clarity allows precise alignment of thought, feeling, and anticipated outcome. This is how it flows when imagination no longer relies on conscious effort but becomes instinctive. This is how it transforms as the world subtly shifts in response to repeated internal scenes. This is how it consolidates when vision and belief merge into a seamless internal reality. This is how it blooms as imagined wealth, success, and abundance feel as tangible as air. This is how it intensifies when imagination is no longer a pastime but the primary driver of lived experience. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, and so the mind begins to perceive the full scope of its creative sovereignty, where thought, emotion, and imagination intertwine to form the very fabric of unfolding reality. Now picture the subconscious as an invisible architect silently shaping every moment of your life. And this is how it begins, as hidden patterns reveal themselves through subtle impressions. This is how it grows when repeated thoughts begin to dictate behavior without conscious effort. This is how it sharpens as mental rehearsals are recorded into the deepest layers of awareness. This is how it resonates when feelings impress scenarios as undeniable truths upon the silent mind. This is how it expands as alignment between conscious intention and subconscious acceptance strengthens exponentially. This is how it surprises when external circumstances shift in perfect synchrony with inner beliefs. This is how it strengthens as habitual doubt fades beneath consistent mental conditioning. This is how it deepens when the subconscious begins to operate autonomously toward fulfillment of imagined realities. This is how it awakens as awareness of its power inspires deliberate direction of thought. This is how it multiplies when persistent assumption reinforces patterns of inevitable outcomes. This is how it illuminates when sudden clarity arises from alignment between emotion, thought, and expectation. This is how it energizes as the mind and body act in seamless cooperation to manifest internal visions. This is how it teaches when every subconscious response becomes a guide rather than a limitation. This is how it flows when repetition ingrains mastery without conscious strain. This is how it transforms as the hidden architect orchestrates reality to match persistent inner scenarios. This is how it consolidates when subconscious and conscious awareness merge into unified creative force. This is how it blooms as the silent mind commands circumstances with absolute fidelity. This is how it intensifies when internal focus leaves no room for contradiction or fear. This is how it escalates, because as the layers peel back, you start to see that the subconscious is not merely a receiver, but the primary sculptor of destiny, shaping the tangible world from the unseen depths of thought and feeling. Think about how deliberate control over your thoughts can become the most powerful tool you possess. And this is how it begins, as awareness of mental habits illuminates patterns previously unnoticed. This is how it grows when discipline trains attention to focus solely on the scenarios you wish to manifest. This is how it sharpens as the mind resists distraction and channels energy into creation rather than doubt. This is how it resonates when every moment of awareness reinforces the desired inner state. This is how it expands as consistent thought direction impresses the subconscious with unwavering clarity. This is how it surprises when minor shifts in thinking cascade into profound changes in circumstance. This is how it strengthens as daily practice ingrains mastery over inner dialogue. This is how it deepens when habitual mental focus reshapes perception of opportunities and obstacles alike. This is how it awakens as intention becomes inseparable from action and response. This is how it multiplies when persistent inner rehearsal turns belief into undeniable expectation. This is how it illuminates when clarity of thought sparks insight previously beyond reach. This is how it energizes as the mind organizes itself in alignment with imagined outcomes. This is how it teaches when self-observation reveals the hidden mechanics of mental causation. This is how it flows when mental discipline becomes effortless through repetition and conscious awareness. This is how it transforms as deliberate thought merges seamlessly with emotion and imagination. This is how it consolidates when consistent focus rewires subconscious priorities toward fulfillment. This is how it blooms as attention becomes a magnet for all circumstances aligned with vision. This is how it intensifies when mastery of thought leaves no room for fear, hesitation, or uncertainty. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you into the next realm where thought alone begins to orchestrate reality with precision and grace. Now imagine faith as the invisible engine that powers every unseen creation. And this is how it begins, as unwavering belief rises quietly within. This is how it grows when doubt is acknowledged, yet deliberately set aside in favor of certainty. This is how it sharpens as expectation aligns perfectly with imagination and emotion. This is how it resonates when inner conviction transforms hesitation into decisive action. This is how it expands as persistent faith impresses the subconscious with undeniable authority. This is how it surprises when circumstances conspire to validate the reality already envisioned. This is how it strengthens as trust in unseen forces fosters courage to act boldly. This is how it deepens when faith becomes the lens through which every obstacle is reframed as opportunity. This is how it awakens as belief and desire intertwine to create an irresistible magnetic pull. This is how it multiplies when repeated affirmation reinforces the inevitability of imagined outcomes. This is how it illuminates when subtle signs and synchronicities reveal the intelligence of inner alignment. This is how it energizes as action flows naturally from certainty rather than compulsion. This is how it teaches when every test of patience strengthens resilience and understanding. This is how it flows when faith becomes a living presence rather than a mere abstract concept. This is how it transforms as inner conviction sculpts the unseen to reflect imagined possibilities. This is how it consolidates when persistent trust embeds itself into subconscious programming. This is how it blooms as the mind operates with unshakable clarity and confidence. This is how it intensifies when belief feels tangible, almost like a force pressing outward into the world. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to recognize that faith is not passive, but the active architect of every outcome. And the unseen currents of life respond only to the depth of inner certainty you carry. Suppose you realize that persistent assumptions are the invisible scaffolding upon which reality is built. And this is how it begins, as repeated belief takes root beneath conscious awareness. This is how it grows when assumptions are held steadily, despite contrary appearances. This is how it sharpens as the mind recognizes the subtle power of unwavering inner conviction. This is how it resonates when repeated mental insistence impresses the subconscious with absolute clarity. This is how it expands as habitual assumptions begin to dictate external circumstances effortlessly. This is how it surprises when outcomes align perfectly with silently held expectations. This is how it strengthens as consistency compounds, weaving thought and feeling into undeniable influence. This is how it deepens when the inner life becomes a persistent rehearsal of the desired state. This is how it awakens as the mind notices patterns of synchronicity emerging from assumption. This is how it multiplies when repeated insistence becomes second nature. This is how it illuminates when every action feels naturally guided by the mental scenario. This is how it energizes as internal certainty transforms hesitation into decisive movement. This is how it teaches when the subtle art of assumption reveals itself as the architect of destiny. This is how it flows when thought, emotion, and expectation align into a seamless magnetic force. This is how it transforms as persistent assumptions shape perception, behavior, and opportunity simultaneously. This is how it consolidates when inner conviction creates a reliable template for manifestation. This is how it blooms as reality begins to mirror the persistent scenarios held within. This is how it intensifies when unshakable assumption leaves no space for doubt or fear. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you into the next stage where action naturally follows belief, and the mind becomes the masterful conductor of circumstances that once seemed random. Picture for a moment what happens when you begin acting as if your desired reality is already present. And this is how it begins, as subtle shifts in behavior mirror the life you envision. This is how it grows when every gesture, decision, and choice reflects inner conviction. This is how it sharpens as external reality begins to respond to the alignment between thought, feeling, and action. This is how it resonates when acting confidently reinforces belief and reshapes perception. This is how it expands as consistent as if behaviors impress the subconscious with authenticity. This is how it surprises when doors open seemingly by chance, guided by the patterns you silently maintain. This is how it strengthens when repetition turns deliberate actions into instinctive habits. This is how it deepens as identity begins to shift toward the person who already inhabits the desired state. This is how it awakens when each deliberate choice creates subtle shifts in opportunity and circumstance. This is how it multiplies when daily enactment of imagined reality amplifies internal certainty. This is how it illuminates when small, consistent actions compound into visible results. This is how it energizes as the confidence derived from as if. Behavior accelerates momentum toward goals. This is how it teaches when conscious rehearsal of actions reveals the interplay of inner and outer worlds. This is how it flows when each movement feels intuitively guided by inner vision. This is how it transforms as external events become reflections of persistent mental rehearsal. This is how it consolidates when acting as if merges seamlessly with belief and expectation. This is how it blooms as confidence, presence, and vision integrate into a single force. This is how it intensifies when every action reinforces the life already imagined. This is how it escalates because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you into the next stage where rewriting your personal story reshapes not only circumstance but identity itself. Think about how the story you tell yourself about who you are quietly shapes everything you experience. And this is how it begins, as awareness rises that your identity is not fixed but malleable. This is how it grows when you notice the repetitive narratives that have guided your choices until now. This is how it sharpens as deliberate imagination rewrites limiting self-concepts into empowering scripts. This is how it resonates when every mental rehearsal reinforces the identity you wish to inhabit. This is how it expands as internal narratives subtly reprogram subconscious expectations. This is how it surprises when old behaviors naturally fade as new identity patterns take root. This is how it strengthens when repeated affirmation of the desired self convinces the subconscious of its reality. This is how it deepens as every imagined scene becomes a rehearsal for actual behavior. This is how it awakens when choices begin to flow effortlessly in alignment with the newly constructed identity. This is how it multiplies when persistence solidifies the new story as the default framework of consciousness. This is how it illuminates when external circumstances bend to reflect the inner transformation. This is how it energizes as the act of rewriting identity generates a magnetic pull on opportunity. This is how it teaches when self-observation reveals which stories have served and which have constrained. This is how it flows when imagination and belief synchronize to create a cohesive, living narrative. This is how it transforms as internal conviction reshapes the perception of both challenge and possibility. This is how it consolidates when the new identity becomes second nature and unshakable. This is how it blooms as every thought, feeling, and action is filtered through the lens of the person you are now imagining yourself to be. This is how it intensifies when self-perception aligns perfectly with desired outcomes. This is how it escalates because yet something deeper was waiting, and so the mind prepares to integrate daily visualization rituals as the next tool for constructing reality with precision and emotional clarity. Picture for a moment the ritual of daily visualization as a doorway to unseen possibilities. And this is how it begins, as focused mental imagery ignites clarity and emotional intensity. This is how it grows when every imagined scene is infused with the sensory details of a fully lived experience. This is how it sharpens as repetition ingrains scenarios into the subconscious as undeniable truth. This is how it resonates when feelings of certainty and joy accompany every visualized moment. This is how it expands as consistency strengthens alignment between imagination, emotion, and expectation. This is how it surprises when external circumstances subtly adjust to mirror internal rehearsals. This is how it strengthens as daily practice builds unshakable faith in the power of the mind. This is how it deepens when each visualization becomes more vivid and convincing than reality itself. This is how it awakens as awareness of unseen patterns reveals opportunities previously unnoticed. This is how it multiplies when persistent imagination impresses the subconscious with unwavering conviction. This is how it illuminates when inspiration flows effortlessly from vivid mental rehearsal. This is how it energizes as visualization becomes a source of guidance for decisions and action. This is how it teaches when the mind observes how imagined experiences translate into tangible outcomes. This is how it flows when imagination, feeling, and expectation merge into a seamless creative force. This is how it transforms as repeated visualization shapes perception and ultimately behavior. This is how it consolidates when mental practice becomes habitual and instinctive. This is how it blooms as the mind effortlessly attracts circumstances aligned with internal scenarios. This is how it intensifies when the imagined life feels as immediate and real as the present moment. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to integrate gratitude and appreciation as the next transformative force that amplifies every visualization and thought into magnetic reality. Now consider the power of gratitude as an invisible magnet that amplifies every thought and desire. And this is how it begins, as awareness awakens to the abundance already present in your life. This is how it grows when appreciation colors every imagined scenario with undeniable vibrancy. This is how it sharpens as daily acknowledgement of blessings impresses the subconscious with a sense of sufficiency. This is how it resonates when feelings of thankfulness deepen emotional intensity in visualization. This is how it expands, as the mind begins to notice opportunities that were previously overlooked. This is how it surprises when even minor acts of appreciation create ripples of synchronicity. This is how it strengthens as persistent recognition of abundance transforms the perception of scarcity. This is how it deepens when gratitude becomes a habitual lens through which every experience is interpreted. This is how it awakens as internal satisfaction fuels confidence and clarity in imagined outcomes. This is how it multiplies when persistent appreciation reinforces alignment between thought, feeling, and manifestation. This is how it illuminates when subtle patterns emerge that validate the unseen work of the mind. This is how it energizes as joy and recognition drive the subconscious toward creation. This is how it teaches when every act of acknowledgement enhances the magnetic pull of imagination. This is how it flows when gratitude turns expectation into certainty. This is how it transforms as emotional alignment with appreciation accelerates manifestation. This is how it consolidates when daily practice embeds a constant sense of abundance into consciousness. This is how it blooms as every scenario feels alive with the richness of already received blessings. This is how it intensifies when the mind operates from a state of unwavering appreciation. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to release attachment to outcome as the next layer of mastery that allows creation to flow effortlessly through deliberate alignment of thought, feeling, and trust. Think about how releasing attachment to outcome can transform desire into effortless creation. And this is how it begins, as tension dissolves when expectation is surrendered to trust. This is how it grows when the mind no longer struggles to force results, but instead allows them to emerge naturally. This is how it sharpens as detachment creates space for inspiration and intuitive guidance. This is how it resonates when patience becomes a powerful ally in the manifestation process. This is how it expands as faith and imagination operate without interference from anxiety or doubt. This is how it surprises when letting go reveals opportunities and solutions previously hidden by obsession. This is how it strengthens as inner calm amplifies clarity of thought and decision-making. This is how it deepens when the subconscious is impressed by the confidence of non-resistance. This is how it awakens as surrender paradoxically accelerates the unfolding of desired outcomes. This is how it multiplies when expectation is aligned with presence rather than clinging. This is how it illuminates when subtle signs and synchronicities signal that creation is in motion. This is how it energizes as freedom from attachment allows bold, inspired action without fear. This is how it teaches when trust in the process replaces anxiety about results. This is how it flows when letting go becomes a daily practice rather than a rare effort. This is how it transforms as internal alignment directs circumstances without force or strain. This is how it consolidates when detachment becomes habitual and unwavering. This is how it blooms as life begins to respond effortlessly to internal steadiness. This is how it intensifies when freedom from obsession strengthens the power of imagination and belief. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to sharpen awareness and recognize every opportunity as a responsive signal from a mind aligned with its desires. Can you imagine a mind so finely tuned that every opportunity seems to appear exactly when it is needed? And this is how it begins, as awareness heightens to notice patterns previously invisible. This is how it grows when subtle signs guide attention toward paths of greatest potential. This is how it sharpens as intuition becomes a reliable compass in decision-making. This is how it resonates when preparation meets chance in perfect synchrony. This is how it expands as the mind recognizes that readiness is cultivated internally before opportunity arrives externally. This is how it surprises when doors open seemingly without cause, yet they respond perfectly to the state of consciousness. This is how it strengthens as persistent observation trains perception to detect what others overlook. This is how it deepens when alignment of thought, feeling, and expectation creates magnetic attraction. This is how it awakens as clarity in perception allows decisive action at the right moment. This is how it multiplies when repeated mental alignment ensures that opportunity is continually recognized and acted upon. This is how it illuminates when synchronicities become undeniable proof of inner mastery. This is how it energizes, as readiness breeds confidence and inspired movement. This is how it teaches when even small attentions to detail translate into large, compounded results. This is how it flows when awareness of alignment informs not only action, but anticipation. This is how it transforms as the mind begins to orchestrate circumstance rather than merely react to it. This is how it consolidates when every opportunity is filtered through the lens of preparedness and insight. This is how it blooms as the universe itself appears to bend toward those whose consciousness is finely tuned. This is how it intensifies when recognition of possibility fuels further exploration. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to confront fear and dissolve scarcity, stepping fully into the next level of mastery where the mind attracts abundance without hesitation or doubt. Now consider how fear of lack has quietly shaped every choice you've ever made. And this is how it begins, as awareness rises that scarcity is an illusion reinforced by thought. This is how it grows when courage replaces hesitation and inner certainty overrides anxiety. This is how it sharpens as habitual worry is consciously replaced with deliberate expectation. This is how it resonates when every act of faith diminishes the power of fear. This is how it expands as the mind recognizes that abundance is the natural state of consciousness. This is how it surprises when opportunities previously unseen begin to appear effortlessly. This is how it strengthens as repeated mental rehearsal builds confidence that resources and possibilities are infinite. This is how it deepens when internal belief eclipses external circumstance. This is how it awakens as emotional mastery transforms doubt into inspired action. This is how it multiplies when the mind consistently assumes sufficiency, regardless of appearances. This is how it illuminates when even the smallest steps taken without fear compound into substantial results. This is how it energizes as fear is replaced with focused anticipation of desired outcomes. This is how it teaches when confronting scarcity uncovers the hidden mechanisms of subconscious creation. This is how it flows when each decision is made from alignment rather than lack. This is how it transforms as habitual anxiety dissolves into unwavering confidence. This is how it consolidates when abundance becomes an automatic lens through which life is interpreted. This is how it blooms as internal assurance manifests seamlessly in external circumstances. This is how it intensifies when fear no longer interferes with imagination or belief. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to embrace wealth as a fully internalized state, where consciousness itself becomes the primary architect of reality. Picture for a moment that wealth is not a number, but a state of consciousness that permeates every decision and perception. And this is how it begins, as awareness awakens to the idea that abundance flows naturally from aligned thought. This is how it grows when every imagined outcome feels already possessed and fully realized. This is how it sharpens as belief transforms mental rehearsals into tangible expectation. This is how it resonates when inner richness radiates outward, influencing both action and circumstance. This is how it expands as persistent focus on abundance magnetizes opportunities. This is how it surprises when resources appear in forms previously unimagined, yet perfectly suited to needs. This is how it strengthens as repeated alignment with the feeling of wealth impresses the subconscious with certainty. This is how it deepens when internal perception of richness becomes independent of external validation. This is how it awakens as the mind begins to operate from a place of internal sufficiency. This is how it multiplies when each mental affirmation amplifies the magnetic pull of prosperity. This is how it illuminates when synchronicities confirm that consciousness, not circumstance, dictates the flow of resources. This is how it energizes as inspired action emerges naturally from the sense of being already abundant. This is how it teaches when the recognition of wealth as a state of mind reshapes choices. This is how it flows when imagination, feeling, and belief converge to form an unshakable inner standard. This is how it transforms as external life aligns effortlessly with the internal state of abundance. This is how it consolidates when wealth is no longer pursued but lived moment to moment. This is how it blooms as every decision, relationship, and opportunity reflects the inner richness cultivated. This is how it intensifies when every thought is filtered through the lens of sufficiency and possibility. This is how it escalates, because yet something deeper was waiting, beckoning you to integrate mastery fully, where the final layer of transformation emerges as effortless creation becomes the natural consequence of sustained consciousness. Now envision the full integration of mind, emotion, and imagination as the ultimate force shaping your reality. And this is how it begins, as every previous insight merges into a single, unshakable knowing. This is how it grows, when thought, feeling, and expectation operate in perfect harmony without conflict. This is how it sharpens as persistent practice ingrains mastery into subconscious wiring. This is how it resonates when imagination flows effortlessly into action. This is how it expands as the internal state dictates the unfolding of external events. This is how it surprises when circumstances bend naturally to align with sustained inner clarity. This is how it strengthens as every layer of belief, assumption, faith, and gratitude reinforces the others in seamless synergy. This is how it deepens when attachment to outcome is replaced with trust in the intelligence of aligned consciousness. This is how it awakens as opportunity. Insight and inspiration converge at precisely the right moment. This is how it multiplies, when mental rehearsal, emotional intensity, and deliberate action create compounding momentum. This is how it illuminates when the mind perceives the invisible architecture of reality, responding perfectly to inner states. This is how it energizes, as mastery becomes effortless and instinctive rather than forced. This is how it teaches when every action feels guided by unseen wisdom. This is how it flows when imagination and belief continually refresh and expand creative power. This is how it transforms as scarcity, doubt, and fear dissolve completely into clarity, certainty, and abundance. This is how it consolidates when every internal layer harmonizes to form a coherent, unstoppable creative force. This is how it blooms as life itself reflects the integrated consciousness cultivated through persistent attention. This is how it intensifies when inner mastery leaves no room for hesitation or contradiction. This is how it escalates as every moment becomes a precise orchestration of thought, feeling, and reality. This is how it culminates, because at last the mind stands fully sovereign, capable of shaping circumstance effortlessly. And the secret behind every millionaire, as Neville Goddard explained, is revealed not in wealth alone, but in the mastery of consciousness itself, where imagination, belief, and emotion converge to produce a life of limitless creation.